You believe you're manifesting, but what if I told you that you're not creating anything new? What if what you call manifesting is nothing more than tuning into something that has always been here? What if you've only been remembering a reality that already exists in the quantum field? And what if the true block to your change isn't the world around you, but the role you've unconsciously taken as the passive observer of your own life? In this video, I'll show you that the very moment you break this cycle of passive observation, your reality reorganizes itself and everything changes, not slowly, instantly. We're not here to repeat pretty phrases. We're here to dismantle everything you thought you knew about manifestation. Because consciousness isn't just a spectator, it's the mechanism by which reality itself takes form. Quantum physics has already revealed that reality collapses only when observed. And even more, the type of observer you are determines the kind of reality you perceive. So the real question is, who's observing inside of you? Are you the one who is always desiring, always chasing, or are you the one who already is? Because in the quantum field, everything already exists. The challenge was never about attracting, it was always about recognizing. Think about a simple radio. You don't create a station, you just turn the dial until you find the frequency you want. The airwaves already hold thousands of songs, from joyful melodies to heartbreaking ballads, from abundance to scarcity. The same is true in the quantum field. Every possibility already exists, waiting for your consciousness to tune in. Yet most people keep spinning the knob unconsciously, stuck on static, wondering why their reality doesn't sound like the music they long for. Imagine you're driving to work, tired and frustrated, and the radio keeps playing sad, slow songs. You want something uplifting, but unless you change the station, you'll stay in that mood. Manifestation works the same way. When you vibrate fear, doubt, or urgency, that's the frequency you're locked into. No amount of positive thinking pasted on top can override the vibration of your actual state of being. The universe, or more precisely the quantum field, responds not to your words, but to your resonance. Let's say you're craving financial abundance, but you keep repeating, "I don't want to be broke." That thought, wrapped in resistance and attachment, still vibrates scarcity. Just like tuning into a news channel that only reports disasters, your subconscious stays locked on the signal of lack. The field doesn't care what you want, it mirrors the energy you embody. Abundance consciousness isn't about asking desperately for more. It's about shifting identity to someone who already lives sustained by the field. Have you ever tried calling someone while your phone had no signal? No matter how much you shouted, "Connect," the call wouldn't go through. That's how manifesting feels when your intention is drenched in resistance. When you're attached to a specific outcome, you broadcast absence, not presence. But when you embody gratitude and release the attachment, the signal clears. Suddenly, synchronicities appear. An unexpected job lead, a new relationship, or a healing opportunity. The call finally connects because your vibration aligned. Think about athletes. Before stepping into the game, many visualize themselves already winning. They don't wait until the trophy is in their hands to feel victory. They embody it beforehand. That's a quantum jump, tuning into the parallel reality where the outcome already exists. By collapsing into that frequency, their subconscious aligns, their RAS filters opportunities differently, and their state of being naturally guides inspired action. They don't force, they remember who they are in that reality. Now picture someone who wants love but deep down feels unworthy. They may dress up, go on dates, and say the right words, but the vibration of "I'm not enough" keeps tuning them back to lonely stations. Consciousness is like a DJ. It doesn't play what you request. It plays what matches your inner rhythm. Only when identity shifts, when they know they are love, worthy of love, resonating as love, does the frequency align. Then, love doesn't need to be hunted. It becomes inevitable. Here's the twist. Tuning isn't about effort. It's about letting go. Just like relaxing your hand on the radio knob until it clicks into the right station, the breakthrough comes when you release the need to prove, to push, to chase. Your attention stops scanning for lack and starts noticing abundance. That's when reality collapses into the music you've always wanted to hear. And the deeper revelation begins when we explore what truly shapes this tuning, the layers of mind, emotion, and identity. Here's a hard truth. You don't manifest what you think. You manifest what you are. The conscious mind, with all its affirmations and vision boards, only runs about 5% of your life. The rest? That's the subconscious script, written long ago by childhood experiences, society, and repeated patterns. This script is what the quantum field listens to. You can repeat, "I am abundant" all day, but if the subconscious believes in scarcity, your vibration will reveal that hidden identity. Take emotions. They're not just feelings, they're the language of the field. Imagine walking into a room after an argument just ended. Nobody has to say a word. You feel the tension. That's vibration in action. In manifestation, your emotions broadcast signals louder than thoughts. Gratitude, joy, or peace emit high-frequency states of being that resonate with abundance. Fear, guilt, and resistance send out scarcity. The field doesn't respond to words, it responds to the emotional soundtrack you're playing. Think about identity as the foundation. If someone wins the lottery, but deep down still identifies as a victim, what happens? Studies show that many lottery winners go broke within years. Why? Because identity always reclaims the steering wheel. They tuned briefly into wealth, but their subconscious identity pulled them back to scarcity. The mind can think rich, the emotions can feel excited, but unless identity says, "I am wealth, I am deserving," the vibration collapses under old programming. Here's a simple example. Imagine you're trying to get fit. The mind says, "I want to lose weight." The emotions get hyped after watching a motivational video. But if your identity is, "I'm just someone who always fails at diets," your subconscious will sabotage the process. That's neuroplasticity at play. The brain wiring itself to fit your self-image. The observer in you keeps collapsing reality back into what aligns with identity. Until the identity shifts, the station stays the same. So, how do you shift identity? You step into the parallel reality where it's already true. Ask yourself, in the version of me where abundance is normal, how do I wake up? How do I dress, eat, talk, and carry myself? That's not imagination, that's alignment. Your RAS begins filtering opportunities differently. Synchronicities appear, not because the world suddenly changed, but because your subconscious started noticing what it once ignored. Identity opened the door that thoughts alone could never unlock. Let's ground this. If you want better relationships, don't just think about finding the one. Become someone who can sustain love without clinging or collapsing. Practice gratitude daily, not as a trick to get something, but as a natural expression of your vibrational state. Write down moments you felt loved, safe, or connected. That trains the subconscious to rewire for abundance consciousness. When identity shifts to "I am love," reality doesn't resist, it resonates. This is where many get stuck. They try to force beliefs through willpower, while their subconscious is still tuned to the opposite station. The shift isn't about shouting affirmations louder, it's about embodying the identity that naturally feels them as truth. And once you see how mind, emotion, and identity weave together into your vibrational state of being, the question becomes, how does the observer, the one behind all this, collapse reality itself? Quantum physics gave us a strange revelation. The observer alters the observed. The double-slit experiment proved that particles behave like waves of infinite possibilities, until observed. At that very moment, the wave collapses into a single reality. But here's the catch. Most people live as passive observers, waiting for evidence before believing. They want to see money before feeling abundant, love before embodying worthiness, health before trusting vitality. Yet in the quantum field, waiting keeps them stuck in the waiting room of reality. Think about gardening. If you plant seeds but keep digging them up every day to check if they're growing, nothing flourishes. That's what happens when you observe with doubt and impatience. Your attention keeps collapsing reality back into absence. The energy flows where attention goes, and if attention lives on lack, the field delivers lack. Observation isn't neutral. It carries the vibration of your state of being. Gratitude collapses one reality, fear collapses another. Have you ever noticed how when you buy a new car, you suddenly see that same model everywhere? That's the observer at work. Your RAS filters what was always there, collapsing it into your daily awareness. Manifestation operates the same way. When your attention tunes into abundance consciousness, opportunities appear not because they're new, but because you've collapsed into the version of reality where they were always available. Your consciousness became the active participant instead of the passive watcher. Let's bring it closer. Imagine someone waiting for a partner. They say, "Once I find love, I'll feel whole." But every time they check their phone, scroll dating apps, or obsess about not being chosen, they're observing through lack. Their attention collapses reality into loneliness, reinforcing the very scarcity they want to escape. The shift happens when they embody love now, cooking dinner for themselves with care, walking with presence, radiating gratitude. That vibration collapses the reality where love meets them naturally. Observation is like holding a flashlight in a dark room. You can shine it on fear, resistance, and doubt, or you can shine it on abundance, potential, and resonance. Either way, your consciousness decides what part of the room becomes real. Every possibility exists in the quantum field, but the observer determines which one collapses. That's why responsibility is crucial. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the one collapsing the wave into form. Consider health. Someone constantly observes every ache and symptom, scanning for disease. Their attention fuels fear, collapsing realities of fragility. But someone else in the same body observes vitality, resilience, healing. They choose to notice every sign of strength, breathing deeply, feeling gratitude for mobility, aligning intention with wellness. Over time, neuroplasticity reshapes their subconscious identity, and the quantum jump into health becomes natural. The observer was never passive. It was always the creator. This is the paradox. The moment you stop waiting for proof and begin embodying the unseen, reality bends. You no longer ask, "When will it come?" Instead, you observe as though it's already here. That's when synchronicity floods in, collapsing timelines into the now. But there's a hidden challenge. Your mind doesn't always cooperate, and your subconscious filters can sabotage the shift. To understand why manifesting often feels blocked, we need to explore neuroplasticity, the RAS, and the invisible traps of the observer. Your brain has a built-in filter called the reticular activating system, or RAS. Think of it like the algorithm of your mind. It decides what information reaches your awareness and what gets ignored. If your identity is tuned to scarcity, your RAS highlights bills, debts, and struggles, collapsing your attention onto lack. But if you shift into abundance consciousness, suddenly you notice opportunities, synchronicities, and solutions that were invisible before. The quantum field doesn't change, your filter does. Here's a simple example. Ever learned a new word and then heard it everywhere? That's RAS in action. The word was always out there, but now your filter is tuned to it. The same applies to manifestation. If your subconscious identity says life is hard, Your brain spotlights obstacles. But when your state of being shifts to life supports me, your RAS highlights evidence of ease and alignment. Neuroplasticity rewires those patterns, reshaping what your observer collapses into reality. But here's the trap. Your brain loves confirming what you already believe. Psychologists call it confirmation bias. If you secretly feel unworthy of love, your RAS will magnify every rejection and ignore every moment of connection. If you see yourself as a victim, life keeps handing you proof of powerlessness. Healing begins when you break this cycle, consciously feeding your RAS with gratitude, intention, and new vibrational signals until the filter no longer sabotages your abundance. Neuroplasticity proves that your brain isn't fixed. Just as a muscle grows with exercise, neural pathways strengthen with repeated focus. Meditation, visualization, journaling, they're not woo-woo, they're workouts for your neural circuits. For instance, writing daily about small wins retrains your RAS to spotlight progress instead of failure. Over weeks, the subconscious identity begins to shift. The observer collapses different realities, not because the field changed, but because your inner wiring now tunes into a higher frequency. Yet the traps of manifestation are sneaky. Attachment to how and when blocks the flow. Urgency creates resistance, collapsing timelines into scarcity. Self-sabotage creeps in when your subconscious still clings to an outdated identity. It's like trying to install new software on a corrupted system. Glitches keep appearing. The so-called imposter syndrome in manifestation shows up when your vibration starts to access realities your old self-image can't sustain. That's when doubt whispers the loudest. Think about starting a business. At first, your RAS might only show risks, competition, failure, financial loss. But if you embody the identity of a successful entrepreneur, you begin noticing investors, clients, synchronicities. Even setbacks look different. Instead of proof you'll fail, they become lessons shaping resilience. The same external world, yet the observer collapses opposite realities. That's the quantum revelation. It's never about forcing outcomes, it's about reprogramming the lens through which you observe. So the key isn't to eliminate fear or doubt, but to persist in embodying the version of you where abundance, love, health, and purpose are already natural. Neuroplasticity ensures that every time you choose alignment over resistance, the wiring strengthens. Your RAS becomes an ally instead of a prison guard. And once you see how the mind can be reprogrammed, the natural question arises: how can these shifts be applied practically to every area of life? Money, relationships, health, and purpose. Let's bring all of this down to earth. The quantum field might sound abstract, but its principles show up in everyday life, in money, relationships, health, and purpose. Think of it as tuning 4 major stations that shape your state of being. If you only hold these concepts as theory, they remain distant. But when you apply them, the vibration of abundance consciousness begins to reshape reality in practical ways. And that's when manifestation feels less mystical and more natural. Take money. Many people chase wealth with desperation, vibrating survival instead of abundance. They cling to every paycheck, constantly checking their bank apps, collapsing reality into scarcity. But abundance comes when you stop moving like someone trying not to drown and start behaving like someone already supported by the field. That might mean investing in learning a new skill, tipping generously, or even buying yourself coffee without guilt. These small acts tell your subconscious, I am sustained. Now, relationships. You don't attract love by begging for it. You attract what you can sustain emotionally. If your subconscious identity screams, I'm unworthy, your vibration pulls partners who confirm that script. But when you embody the state of, I am love, everything shifts. Practical steps. Set healthy boundaries. Practice gratitude for current connections, and nurture yourself as if you were already in the relationship you desire. The field responds to resonance, not desperation. Health is another mirror of identity. Someone who constantly thinks I'm fragile collapses reality into weakness, catching every cold, noticing every ache. Meanwhile, someone who identifies as vitality itself moves differently. They breathe deeply, exercise with gratitude, choose foods that energize. Even the body's cells respond to attention, aligning with vibrational states. Neuroplasticity and epigenetics show that your biology listens to your observation. Healing becomes less about fixing and more about embodying resilience. Purpose, too, is often misunderstood. Many believe they need to search endlessly to find it, as if purpose is lost in some faraway place. But in truth, purpose is not discovered. It's remembered. It emerges when you stop hiding from yourself and express what was always there. You might start by journaling what energizes you, noticing synchronicities that spark passion, or simply asking, what feels natural when I stop trying to impress anyone? That alignment reveals your purpose station. Think about someone stuck in a job they hate. If they see themselves as a victim, every day feels heavier. But if they shift their state of being into, I am capable, creative, and worthy of growth, their RAS begins highlighting new paths, a course, a mentor, a business idea. Manifestation doesn't magically drop a career from the sky. It reprograms your observation to notice and act on the opportunities aligned with your identity. Inspired action flows naturally. So across money, love, health, and purpose, the principle is the same. Stop observing from lack. Start embodying the version where it already is. These are not abstract promises. They're frequencies you can tune into right now through small, consistent shifts. And once you see how practical this is, a deeper question emerges. How do you take inspired action without falling back into desperation? That's where quantum time and instant collapse reveal their secret. There's a subtle but powerful difference between action born from desperation and action born from alignment. Desperate action says, I must prove my worth. I must make this happen now. It vibrates resistance, attachment, and scarcity. Inspired action, however, emerges naturally from a state of being where the outcome is already real. It doesn't need to convince, it simply expresses. When aligned, even small steps carry massive resonance, collapsing realities that used to feel out of reach. Imagine someone chasing a job. Desperate action looks like applying to every listing, sending resumes with anxious energy, doubting every response. Inspired action might be a quiet nudge to call an old friend, update a portfolio, or attend a workshop. That one aligned step often opens doors faster than hundreds of forced ones. Why? Because the observer has already collapsed into the version where the job exists. The action is no longer about hunting, it's about embodying. Quantum manifestation teaches that time isn't linear, it's vibrational. All realities exist simultaneously in the quantum field, like songs already recorded on a playlist. The one you hear depends on which track your consciousness selects. When thought, emotion, and identity align with abundance, the outcome doesn't arrive later, it collapses into now. That's why synchronicity feels magical. The timing looks impossible, but it's simply resonance catching up with your state of being. Think about relationships. Someone in scarcity mode keeps asking, when will they text me back? Their energy collapses reality into waiting. But someone embodying love doesn't chase. They already live in the frequency of connection. Their inspired action might be planning a dinner with friends, journaling gratitude, or practicing self-care. Ironically, that's when messages, invitations, and opportunities flow in. The collapse happens instantly, not because the field changed, but because the observer shifted attention. Health follows the same principle. Forced action looks like overtraining, obsessively dieting, or fearing every symptom. Inspired action feels lighter, choosing nourishing foods with gratitude, resting with intention, moving joyfully. These actions collapse realities of vitality because they emerge from alignment rather than fear. Healing isn't just physical, it's vibrational. Your body reads your attention like a radio signal, responding differently when it's bathed in resistance versus when it's infused with resonance. Even purpose unfolds this way. People often chase meaning like it's a treasure hidden in the future. But when you align with who you already are, inspired action reveals purpose in the present. It might be starting a small project, sharing an idea, or volunteering time. Each step collapses the timeline into already living my purpose. That's why breakthroughs often feel sudden. Reality didn't change overnight, your observation did. The quantum jump was instantaneous. So the collapse of reality isn't about forcing the universe to deliver. It's about embodying the version of yourself that no longer waits. Inspired action becomes effortless because it flows from identity, not from fear. And when you stop observing as someone desperate for proof and start observing as someone who already knows, everything reorganizes itself around that state. Which leads us back to the big question: how do we tie all these threads into a story that the heart can carry forward? Now that you understand, only one step remains: practice. Choose an area of your life where you want to see change. Identify the version of yourself that is already living it. Start acting like them. Feel gratitude like them. Breathe like them, and stay firm even when there's still no external evidence. Because when the observer remains stable, the field always responds. Comment below: I choose to be the observer who already is. And if this video activated something within you, the next one is essential. Don't miss the video on the end screen, because it holds the key to keep embodying and affirming your vibrational frequency. If this content resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to keep aligning your frequency and access that reality of yours that you've dreamed of, but that already exists.